a rise in inmate violence. Is your agency lacking in sufficient training for your critical incidents within your facility? Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. I want to talk about inmate violence being on the rise in officer safety. We can't talk about it enough. I don't care if we talk about it every day of the year at our facilities, whether you're working in a jail, at a prison, or a work release center. It doesn't matter. It's dangerous job, and there's always the risk of officers being hurt. I will be talking next week with an officer, and I'll write an article from our interview based on his attack. He was attacked by inmates. I won't give his name and location right now. It'll come out in the article, but this just happened not that long ago. He was beaten by inmates, stabbed in the head twice, and beaten with a lock in the sock. And the media didn't hardly put any story out, just a short little blurb. You know, nothing about inmate violence on the rise or anything like that. You know, if it would have been reversed, where we unfortunately have an incident where an officer or a bad apple gets involved in physical abuse of an inmate, and my God, it's a very long story within the media. So I want to make it aware, I want to make awareness to the people out there that inmate violence is real. It really happens. It's not a fantasy. And we have to train and protect our officers every single day. Not just training once a year, but every day we need to have some type of mind refreshener to keep our head on the swivel. The officer, by the way, is home recovering, and he's going to survive. That's the good news. But that had to be terrible, to be stabbed in the head twice and beaten with a lock in the sock. That's just brutal. In my 29-year career, I didn't have to suffer that. I've been spit on, been pushed, cursed at, of course, and called every name in the book. But luckily, I didn't have to go through what he did. But many of our officers have gone through that. Now, what do we need to consider for officer safety? Well, we have to stay consistent with inmate discipline, okay? And I don't see that happening everywhere. If your agency is consistent with inmate discipline, please let me know here in the comments. But I'm seeing in my travels that a lot of the officers during interviews that are uncensored, I'll call it, because we don't use their names and we don't give their location, are saying that officers are being attacked on a regular basis, they're being stabbed, and they're not being held accountable. Now, folks, we have inmate disciplinary teams, right? Classification. We usually have a classification officer, and we have a couple of correctional officers with that classification officer on the team to determine what discipline an inmate should receive. So if an inmate acts out, attacks an officer, attacks another inmate, attacks a civilian member, are we making them accountable for their actions? Well, number one, if it's a criminal act, are we sending an investigation to the state attorney's office to criminally prosecute? And is your state attorney working with you to prosecute these inmates? If not, I suggest we get a team together that goes to the state attorney office and requests a private meeting to discuss officer safety. And even prosecuting, of course, inmate on inmate crime. If an inmate attacks another inmate, we want to prosecute that inmate as well, not just attacking a staff member. And then for other violations, are we giving them loss of privileges? Are we doing monetary fines? That would really hit them hard. There's so many things that we should be doing to hold the inmates accountable for committing crimes, violence, and illegal activities and violating policies and procedures that are all listed in their inmate handbook. They know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. There's no excuse for not disciplining, holding inmates accountable when they do something wrong, right? Our children need discipline. We as adults need discipline and structure. What's the difference? They're incarcerated for committing a crime, and then they continue to act out while in the jail or prison. We definitely need to hold them accountable, and I'll stop right there. I think you get my meaning on that. We need to increase the general officer safety training. Training, that's right. Training is so important. Okay? We need to stop the violence within the prisons. Now, officers need to be trained on how to handle inmates and inmate violence and what to do. But when you train the officers on what to do and how to stop the inmates from committing violent acts, don't hold the officers back when they actually do what they're supposed to do. That's my thought. Of course, if an officer abuses an inmate, of course, if an officer does something wrong, we have to look into that, right? We have to investigate it. Officers, you're just going to have to understand that. That's the way the system works. Okay, it's not a one-sided system. We have to check everything. But I'm talking about when you have accountability measures for inmates in place, and you're not allowing your officers to use these disciplinary measures. You're not allowing the disciplinary team to make a decision on what type of discipline the inmate should receive. Please let the officers and the disciplinary team do what they're supposed to do. That's how we keep order in the house. I think officers should be told every day in briefing a little bit about what's going on. Be careful for this inmate. We had trouble in this dorm. And keep your head on a swivel. A daily reminder. When the supervisors do their rounds to each dorm or each pod or each housing unit, whatever you call it, where you work. How you doing? Everything going okay? Yeah, okay. Need anything? Okay. Let me know if you need something. Folks, keep your head on a swivel. Stay alert. A simple reminder to keep alert and stay alert can go a long way in a correctional officer's workday. We have to remind each other as well, folks. Not just supervisors. Each officer. Look out for each other. Together, we are stronger. That's what I'm wearing right here, right now. Together, we are stronger. Okay, correctional officers. You have to stick together and throw away all your problems with personality issues. We need camaraderie, okay? You don't like somebody, it doesn't matter. While you're at work 12 hours, 16 hours, 20 hours, you're going to help each other. You're going to run to assist each other. And you're going to warn each other of dangers. If you're not doing that, you're not being a good fellow officer. Plain and simple as far as I see it. I don't care if you like me or not. I don't care if I like you or not. I'm going to make sure that if I see something that could harm you, I'm going to warn you about it. Implement good training and mentoring programs for your officers. Please. Young officers need a good mentoring program to know what to do, what to look for, how to survive. Yes, if you have an officer that says, I know everything, be careful. I don't know everything after 29 years working in corrections. I'm learning something new every day in my travels to different facilities. Please, folks, we are not macho. We are supermen and superwomen because of the work we do, but don't show out like a macho, okay? Don't cry macho, because first of all, that turns people off, And second of all, nobody likes a know-it-all. Let's work together and be smart. Work smart, smarter, not harder. Also, we should allow our prison officers, not just our management, to always go to these statewide meetings, these training sessions in other states. Let some officers go. Let some frontline staff send 2 of them, 3 of them over to another state to hear what their training has to say at their statewide meeting or a conference, okay? Or another county even. Let your officers get in on this. And don't send the same ones every time. Send 2 or 3 now, 2 or 3 to the next one. Let your officers get associated with the rest of the corrections world, folks. We learn from each other. And by traveling and learning from other agencies, it's amazing what kind of a package you can put together to help your agency have a safer agency and have a stronger training program. Okay? I'll stop there. I try to keep my videos 10 minutes or less. I thank you for listening. Please think about what I said today, and let's get some discipline back and structure back in the inmate population, and let's use the disciplinary team to implement discipline where needed and back up our officers. And let's use that state attorney as well, folks. Thank you. Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.